Hi, my name is Teresa Alabara, and welcome to Eczema Phoenix, where we learn how to transform the way we live with eczema. So in today's video, I want to talk about how only certain special people have what it takes to support an eczema warrior. And I would say that having had eczema for over 30 years, I've, come across the experience of being disappointed a lot, kind of like by the people around me that I thought should be able to support me and be there for me when I was at my worst with eczema, and just them falling flat or not meeting my expectations. And I think the way we've been raised with like the Disney Channel and Lifetime movies and all kinds of programming and media that set the expectation of, like say if you're family or if you're like best friends, then you'll always know what to say, you'll always know how to support each other, you'll always just instinctively, naturally know what to say and do to help your friends out. And really, I would say there's no program that I am aware of at this point that teaches non-eczema people how to support eczema people. Maybe it's coming soon. I see a lot of holistic, like psychologists, things. I see other like spiritually and philosophically minded eczema warriors who are like coming out with great content and support groups. And so maybe it's on its way. Maybe that program is on its way sooner than later. But I had eczema in like uh, late 80s to 90s. Like that's when it started for me, and there was nothing. There was no internet, there was no knowledge about eczema. It was only steroid prescriptions were the answer. Moisturize after you shower was the answer. Try not to scratch was the answer. And I was very limited and not very relevant or even applicable to every situation I had with eczema, and I'm sure other warriors can relate. And it's sort of like, what do you say to someone who has a condition you've never dealt with? Like from the perspective of a non-eczema person, it's kind of like I've learned to become more compassionate and considerate of people who are not able to be compassionate and considerate of me, because it kind of all starts from within. And I can't really expect other people, I can't expect a non-eczema person to understand me if I can't even understand the perspective of a non-eczema person and why they might, get repulsed, place judgment, make faces, blurt things out rudely. And maybe they don't even mean to, maybe they don't even realize it. It's just like a jerk reaction because they just don't know what to do, they don't know what to say. Because there's no program, like I said, there's no program for this. There's no like training on like, here's how to treat an eczema warrior, here's how to treat an eczema patient at this stage, at that stage, from the beginning to the middle to the end. Like that would be a great program to have. I don't know, maybe I'll make one up sometime. Maybe someone else who's already working on this is in the mix, like in the middle of making this program that will like help so many of us in the community. But it's not a common occurrence. It's not common knowledge. Like, what do you do? What do you say? How do you support? What can you, what can you do? What can you do to, what's the best way to respond to someone who has such like a visibly uncomfortable condition that you don't know about, and maybe, or maybe it's not contagious, and, it's just, there's so much to learn. There's so much to share. There's so much to establish and produce in terms of programming, knowledge, content, trainings. Like it's like a really big missing piece in like the psychology, therapist, counselor industry or field. Like it's its own kind of world that is that kind of compounds other things or leads to other things like depression, anxiety, stress, and um, much worse. So I want to make this video because I want to help other warriors realize that, it's like we're in pain every day. We need to vent, we need support, we need a hug, or something, if we're able to, it depends on how you're feeling, where your tender spots are. But it's like we need the support, and because we get in so much pain, we get to a desperate place for it. Like we desperately, if we're in a really bad flare up, we desperately need support. We desperately need some words of affirmation, something to show like we are cared for, that we matter, that we will not be abandoned, you know, and that desperation turns into like a desperate hope and expectation. And if there's anything I've learned, is that expectation like is the death of kind of like relationships, because expectation kind of comes with the expectation of mind reading. And unless you're actually psychic, most that I know are not. I'm not psychic. I can't read minds so directly and clearly. We could sense things, but we don't know for sure until it like comes from the horse's mouth, until it comes directly from the source. Hey, here's what I need. Are you able to give it to me, or can you direct me to someone else who has like the emotional, mental, and like physical capacity to like be for someone who's in pain, like who's strong enough to be a rock and has a strong foundation of their own, so that they don't get caught up in my issues, and they stay healthy while helping to support my health. Because that's really what it is. It's like we essentially kind of like need someone who's like so strong, or like who cares about us so much that their love is so big that it is able to like just extend to us naturally without too much effort. Because it is kind of like a role, it is kind of a job, and it is kind of starting to become like a caregiver role. And like, is every person in our family or friendship circle or around us like really capable of that? And there's nothing. Oh my god, I see a hummingbird in my mom's lemon tree, it's so beautiful. Sorry. I love animals. Is everyone in our life that we're turning to able to really be there for us without it depleting their energy and like their health and their mental health? Because it is a job, it is a role, and not everyone is up to it. And there's a reason why caregiver roles and therapist jobs and counselor jobs are jobs that get paid and have value, that is compensated. And it can be hard when you're a warrior, and like, I don't know, maybe you're spending a lot of money on your health, on appointments, on treatments, and there's not much you can offer to anyone outside of like the really crucial treatments. So what do you do about the situation? Well, I say to redirect the focus of your expectations and your hopes and your necessary and understandable search for like support outside of yourself, because you're feeling so like weak or depleted or hopeless. I think a lot of us focus on like what's not working, like, oh, my family member is just being very critical, or is like not able to give me the support that I need, or oh, my friend like is avoiding me, or like not inviting me to things, or whatever, I'm missing out. And we focus way too much on the things that are not working, as opposed to like laser focusing on like like what could work. Who is out there who does have the emotional capacity? Who out there on the internet or whatever is like holding maybe like a social support group? I think there's like somebody named like Anne Laura who used Dupicent to help her, and she is really active online, and she has a free online support group on Zoom, I think, and I'll put a link down to it below. And people seem to have just a great time just being able to vent there, and that's like, and it's without judgment, so then they get that emotional support there. And so I think we need to like stop caring about what's not working, stop caring about the people in our lives who we expect to be able to be there for us, like whether it's a partner, a family member, a friend, whatever, even a doctor. Like we need to let go of these expectations and just focus on what is working, who is getting results, what do I need, who's providing it. Like we need to focus on things that work. And maybe it's not going to be many things at first, but I find that the more I just kind of like let the rest go and just super focus and like just look and research and try to find more things that work for me, like people that are getting results, people who are like understanding my situation, the more I find of it. And the next thing I know, I have a network. And the next thing I know, I see the patterns of what is working, who in my life like has the capacity to be there for me. And I really treasure those. Like even if it's not a lot, it's still something. And I treasure it, I value it, I show appreciation and gratitude for it. I'm not like a doormat though. Like I'm not like groveling and begging for it, but it's just sort of like, you know, in an empowered state, thank you for being there for me. I really appreciate you. Like, you know, just like kind of just like tending to a garden of self-care and a garden that where you are growing a garden of allyship and of resources and of support, whether online and or in person, finding products that are actually working for you, finding supplements or foods that are actually nourishing you and clearing you up, and to really treasure those things because it is special. Like we act like it is the norm to be super compassionate and giving and understanding and non-judgmental, and I don't know, like I feel like at least in my journey I feel like the norm is to be in a box and to stay in your comfort zone and to be afraid of stepping out of sight of the box, and to just sort of like as a knee-jerk reaction or maybe a protective action to just make assumptions about things, to try to guess at things because it just seems like a quick safe thing to do, as opposed to, you know, being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, being curious, being open-minded, learning new things, you know, just like putting yourself out there as a non-eczema person to like be open to learning about a world that you may or may not ever take part in. I feel like is actually special, and only the brave, only the courageous have what it takes to step into that world. Only those with a strong foundation of their own, who have good self-esteem, who give themselves the benefit of the doubt, are the ones who are capable of extending that to someone else. Most people, like I said, they stay in their comfort bubbles. They stay with what's familiar, um, and I can only hope that the numbers are growing. I can only hope that more people will become more fearless and be more curious rather than judgmental of things or health conditions that they do not know. And so those are the people and those are the things that a successful eczema warrior who wants to become an eczema phoenix needs to do, in my opinion. Like you just you can't bury yourself in all your disappointments. It does not do anything beneficial for your healing journey to focus and like dwell and like spiral on the things that are disappointing you, not working, not meeting your expectations, not like reaching the standards of support that you need to succeed. And so just, you know, let it all go. um, it's important to come to a place of acceptance that not everyone's going to be there for you the way that you need. And it's sort of like if we want acceptance, we sort of need to have acceptance for others, even if they disappoint us, even if you know, they are not treating us in a way that we would prefer, and just accept it and let it go. Accept it and just be like, okay, next. You know, who is there for me? Who is strong enough to be there for me? Who, you know, who has the knowledge that I seek? Who is making the products that will help me? Who's making the food or the recipes that I need to transcend pain? So I hope that this helps. I feel like I kind of like lost track of what I was saying at some point, but I hope it was all cohesive. I hope it makes sense. I hope it helps and encourages you to keep going, because you know, there's a lot of us out there, and if you have internet access, if you're able to watch this video, you have internet access and you essentially have access to the world. And when you have access to the world, your numbers grow. The numbers of your success rate will increase the more you expand, the more you look outside of the box, the more you go outside of your usual routine or place of residence and region. Like, there is just so many friends I've made overseas through sharing my journey online on Instagram and YouTube. I have so many international friends and invitations to visit people, and you know, it's like, you know, why not? And it's a nice byproduct of having gone through so much pain to have been able to connect with so many people globally. So that's exciting, and you know, it's like, well, you know, whenever I'm ready and able to travel again, I have a few places to visit. So that's something to look forward to, and I hope that that will happen for you too. You know, if you like this video, please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.